This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
So this lady was speeding the other day and she gets pulled over by a police officer and he says, "Hey ma'am, can I please see your registration and your realtor's license?" And she says, "Don't you mean driver's license?" He says, "No, not everybody has a driver's license. Everybody has a realtor's license."
It seems that way, doesn't it?
It certainly does. You can throw a rock and hit 5 people. I can't remember if I was paid a nickel every time I went on an appointment where somebody said, "Hey, you know what? Thanks for coming, but we know a lot of realtors and we're interviewing some other realtors as well." I'd be a rich person.
Right.
Because
or I was a realtor, or my sister is a realtor,
or I was
my
thinking
cousin
about
was a realtor. Yeah.
I thought about it
thinking
once.
about getting into real estate.
Once 20 years ago, I took a test. Yeah. But today on the show, we have a very special guest. Her name is Halley Bulger, and she is on the Made for More team. So you're listening to the Made for More Living podcast. My name is Johnny Jennings, and we have Halley Bulger on the show. And we were talking, we being myself and my wife, we're talking about Valerie, about who should we have on the show? Who would be a great representative of the brand and just realtors in general? Because I don't know about you, but I've heard statistics where realtors rank below used car salespeople and below lawyers. And I thought, who could possibly change that perspective? So for today, we have Miss Halley on the show. Halley, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Halley, my first question is, why do people have that conception of what a realtor is? Why are they compared with used car salesmen? What's your perspective on that?
Honestly, I think it's a lot of what they see and hear, but they don't actually know what goes on behind the scenes, like anything else. I tell a lot of people, don't watch the news or listen to the media. Just actually go talk to a real estate agent. Find out what they do behind the scenes for the client. And then you can make your decision about us, because a lot of us aren't like that do real estate full time.
Yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions. I would agree with you 100%, Halley. So when despite the misconceptions and maybe the negative stigma realtors have, you got started in this industry a while ago.
Yeah, I was pretty much a baby. Every appointment I would go on there like, "Sweetie, aren't you in high school?" I'm like, "No, actually I'm not. I just graduated."
Yeah,
but I am licensed.
What was it in high school, or what made you think, hey, I want to get into real estate?
So honestly, I come from a family of builders in construction. My great-grandfather was a builder in West Hampton Beach in New York. And then my dad was a builder. And we had talked about it when I was in high school. I think it was my senior project. And they're like, "What kind of career path do you want to choose?" And I'm like, I'm not really sure yet. And so I started looking up things in real estate, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to swing a hammer, being a female, no offense, but that's not really something that I was like, yeah, that's my passion. So I actually interviewed a real estate appraiser, and I job shadowed him for about a week. And then I did a report on him, and I didn't feel like that was my calling. And then I met a real estate agent through him and started shadowing her. And she's like, I definitely think you should go for it. So I ended up taking the test when I was 19 years old, got licensed, and just been running with it ever since.
Wow. So you got licensed at 19 years old.
Did you pass it the first time?
Nope.
No? How many times did it take you?
2.
2, okay.
Yeah.
Did you study?
I studied, but honestly...
Did they have the internet back then?
No, I had real books.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so you couldn't watch the YouTube videos or take the sample tests online.
Nothing like that.
You'd actually read and get out a highlighter and take notes.
Oh, yeah. And I lug those things around with me, and people are like, "What are you reading? Why is this book so large?"
Right.
I'm like, "This is my real estate exam." They're like, "Okay, you just carry it around with you?" I was like, well... When I would get breaks, I took care of elderly people before this and my grandparents. And so, on lunch breaks, I just sit, read a little bit, study, and that's...
Oh my gosh, I did not even think about how people used to study for this test.
Yeah.
Like my grandpa, he was a realtor. way back when. And all I ever heard of was his test, like how he took a test. And so he failed it his first time, and he decided, hey, I'm just overthinking this. I'm just too stressed out. And so he actually ended up, there was a bar right next to the testing center. And so the next time he went back, he had a couple drinks, slid into his seat, and passed with flying colors.
Wow.
And so
that's the key.
That's the key.
Right?
That's the key. So that's another story for a different day. But I never thought about, because those books are intense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just actually gave one of my girlfriends that's looking to get her real estate license, and she's my age. So we're very, you would say, nostalgic. We like our paper books. And I think when I first met you and joined the team, you're like, you still go to the library? I'm all, yeah. Where else am I going to get the book to read for the month?
Yeah.
You're all, ever heard about Audible? I'm all, I guess. I didn't think of that. I just go to the library.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool. Yeah.
How many times did you take the test before you passed it? First time, probably.
Yeah.
Did you ace it? Probably got them all right.
So I'm an incredible test taker.
Yeah.
Horrible at retention. So I walk in and I'm like studying. But as I'm leaving, as I'm taking the test, my brain's like a bucket with holes in it, and I know stuff is just pouring out. So as long as I can complete the test before my brain loses it all, I'm good. So
Get in, get out.
But aside from just the books, like the training and all that, when you were applying or getting ready to become a real estate agent, what else have you seen change in your last 18 years in the industry?
Oh my gosh. I remember we used to have a packet that we would roll around with buyers, and you'd go show this property.
So packet meaning a printed out
Yeah, the whole 9 yards. Like you would have the whole listing. Well, if you were doing a listing, but mainly buyers, because you're driving them around, showing them multiple properties, and you're like, this is it, we got to write an offer right now. So we would be in the car drafting it up, and you'd scratch something out. You're like, shoot, messed up on that. Okay. Everybody sign here. We're going to keep going. And then we would go into the office, and I would fax everything over.
You would go into the office and fax it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was the only way. We didn't have mobile scanners. Nothing was digital at this time. And if you were like the top notch if you had anything that was digitally signed.
Was the fax machine next to the hitching post for the horse and the carrier
Right?
pigeon? Yeah.
It was actually in the back, and I'd have an assistant who would usually help me, because the pages on the contract were not your standard, 8.5 by 11. Like, they were long, and then there was 3 pieces of paper. So you'd have your top one, and then your middle one, and then your bottom one. And so you would take off part that you would turn into the office, then you'd have your copy to keep, and then you'd give the other copy to the client.
Whoa.
And that's how you basically.
I feel like this is like a history lesson right here. But what that is called, I believe it's called carbon paper.
Yep,
right?
That's what it was.
And so I was talking with one of our staff members who calls proactively and is always looking for buyers for our sellers' homes. And he was like, Johnny, what does CC stand for? And I was like, I don't know.
Exactly.
Do you know what it stands for?
Of course, carbon copy.
That's what it is, but it's electronic carbon copy.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So
what's BC stand for?
Blind carbon copy.
Blind copy.
Blind copy?
Blind copy.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
it's just BC. I don't think it's BCC. It's BC.
We're going to get fact checked on that. It's
right,
okay,
here we go.
Okay, so you've seen...
you're right. It is BCC. There
you just
you
looked
go.
it up.
See?
Wait, what was that? What was that?
You were right.
Oh, never gets old. Never gets old. Thanks, Matt. So, what did it look like in terms of Zillow, though? Were there any online portals? Were clients using those a whole lot back in 18 years ago?
Actually, when I remember coming into the office, and this one lady who was working with me at the time, she goes, yeah, so there's this new online thing. I don't know if it's going to stand the test of time, but it's called Zillow. And I'm all, Zillow? Okay, and what do we do with it? And she's like, well, it kind of gives you a price gauge on homes in the area. And I'm like, but isn't that our job? And she's like, well, yes, but now people have that access at their fingertips. Mm-hmm. And so then they question our job and what we think the value is. And so that was just coming out. And I actually I partnered with another agent in the office, and we started running ads with them. And it was hit or miss, probably every 10 people you'd get one that was like a legit person that wanted to transact or buy or sell.
Not much has changed.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I remember, I'll never forget coming in the office. I'm all Zillow. Huh. Okay. We'll see about that.
So now fast forward 18 years. Do you think Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, do you think those are good things for the consumer, or?
I mean, like anything else, I think there's a good happy medium between using a little bit of leverage of both. Mm-hmm. I think with anything else, it's kind of like going to WebMD versus going in and talking to your physician. I really believe I like hands-on things. I want to talk to my agent that's selling my largest asset. So I think that's pretty important instead of letting a computer kind of dictate how that's going to go.
Yep.
So for me...
I love that WebMD analogy. That's really good, Haley. I'm going to use that.
Because everybody's like, well, why do you hire a professional if you're not going to listen to them? I'm like, exactly. Like, you're supposed to kind of take the lead on listening to what I am telling you, but hey, maybe not.
Yeah, there might be some trust issues there. So, all right. So that's all we have for this segment. But coming up next, we're going to discuss what makes the difference between an average realtor and an exceptional realtor.
So if you're listening to today's show and you're thinking about putting your home on the market, but you have reservations because you don't have the time or the money to do those much needed projects to put your home up for sale, call up my friend Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves Real Estate team. They can help you get those projects done even if you don't have the time or the money. 855-TOM-DAVES is the phone number, or go to the website tomdaves.com, type in your address, find out what kind of offers you would get and how much you would get if you wanted a cash offer today, no matter what kind of condition your home is in. Again, the website is tomdaves.com, or call Johnny Jennings at 855-TOM-DAVES is the phone number, 855-TOM-DAVES.